What's poppin'?
Rudy Rule on the ones and twos.
Okay, you know what it do. You know
About
what
to
it
read
do.
me my chart. Don't give me the blues.
Bars.
How was band practice?
I have band practice tonight at 10.
Oh, tonight.
I
Okay. So
know.
you
I'm super
manifested.
excited.
So you
Hmm?
manifested the trumpet and the horns and all that?
No, so right now we have congas. I don't know if it's congas or bongos. It's percussion, but it's not like a drum set because the audio wouldn't work. So to be honest, I'm meeting everybody for the first time to figure out what it's going to be like. Like Emerson, who's playing bass, I played with him before. I've never played with Marco, who's playing the keys. And then Marco's friend is doing the percussion section. So we're just going to go with the flow and see. But
Exciting.
I'm super excited, but I'm really glad that we're having tonight to rehearse because we perform tomorrow. And like, sometimes I'm just like, let's get it. Who cares? But like for this particular thing that I'm doing, I want it to be really good because I'm really excited. It's like this, it's like an unplugged kind of thing. And it's just really cool. Like, I don't know. So I want to do my best. So I want to be prepared.
Yeah, that's important. It's time to level up. In order to level up,
Okay.
you got to plan to perform.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I feel you though. I mean, us being ruled by Mercury, we like to freestyle stuff sometimes, well, most of the time.
Yes. Okay. Look at you.
I remember. I remember. Come on. I learned some astrology stuff. Well, I didn't really learn, but I just, I watched.
Remember.
I watched our first episode, so I remembered. I have a good memory. I'm the reserve. I'm the reserve. I'm the overthinker. So I'm.
You are. I can't wait to tell you about your chart because a lot of these things are things that I've already discovered about you. I already feel like I know you. I mean, I know you, but I feel like I know you ever since I've done some information.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, Master Guru, whenever you're ready to conduct your experiment, go for it.
Okay, so I have notes and I wrote it down on a piece of paper. So let's start with this. So, okay, the thing about astrology is there's so much to it. Like you can be studying it for days and days and days because every single discovery, there's like a rabbit hole you can go down. You know what I'm saying? So for this particular
Genre.
podcast
Call,
interview,
call it genre. This genre
genre,
of astrology, because this is birth chart.
exactly. So what I'm doing today is going to tell you about your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising / ascendant sign. They can be used interchangeably. And then I may even talk about your Mercury because I feel like your Mercury is important too. So, there's so many different planets that are involved in a natal chart. And then also in the natal chart, there's this thing called houses, which is where the placement of everything is. But we're not going to get into that for this because we're going to do that for like the next one. Because it's like a thing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'd rather give you some information for you to process. And then once you've processed that and you've utilized that, then you move on and yada, yada, yada. Okay.
Okay.
So your sun sign. So your sun sign is what most people know themselves as. Like you're a Virgo, I'm a Gemini. It's kind of like, in the newspapers where there's a little horoscope, small section. That's pretty much what they are going by as your sun sign. So it's really just what season the sun was in. So right now we're in Aries season. So anybody that's born during this time is considered an Aries. So you're a Virgo. So in astrology, your sun sign is kind of like if you were to think of life as like this big like play, like your sun sign is the role that you've been given. It's kind of like the personality, the character that you play. So since yours is Virgo, which you said and you remembered is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of intellect, communication, technology. So if you're ruled by that planet, because you're a Virgo, those are kind of things that you tend to function by, which is very like, for example, logic. You're very logical. You're very practical. You're very like 1 + 1 = 2. You want planning. You know what I'm saying? You need that to kind of thrive. So the cool thing about this is because I'm a Gemini, we're both ruled by Mercury, but I'm considered the masculine sign and you're considered the feminine sign. you know, and it's not masculine and feminine like the, you know, what most people think, like feminine's lipstick and fucking masculine's playing football. It's not that, you know, it's like a whole different thing. So in this situation, feminine qualities are like being receptive, kind of being versus doing, you know, like kind of very intuitive, very creative, and your whole chart. So Virgo, your sun's in Virgo, your moon's in Virgo, and your rising's in Capricorn, and all three of those are feminine planets. So you have a lot of, I know you have a lot of feminine energy, which is, it's okay though. That's okay. It's okay. I know it's no, but it's okay because it's in the good ways. You know what I'm saying?
I survived being raised by all women is because I have so much feminine energy, I guess.
That's, you have the sauce. When you have feminine energy, you have the sauce, you have the drip. Like, honestly, if you use it, hold on, let me close the door. If you use it to your advantage, like it's really the goat. Like I have the complete opposite. I have all masculine in my chart, which is why our friendship works though, because we kind of balance each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it kind of works. So, okay, going back to your sun and going back to your Virgo. One thing that I like to also do with the chart is Virgo rules your digestive system, meaning your intestines and also your spleen. So the thing about Virgos is that they tend to be worriers, because if you think about it, your stomach or your digestive system is like your second brain. So if you can't process things in your mind, you're not going to be able to process things here either. And it's kind of like metaphoric, but it's also just like literally and figuratively. So most people that are Virgos have digestive issues. And you also have your moon's in Virgo. So your moon is more of your emotional state. So your sun, for example, Virgo is like what you kind of show the world you are, where your moon is your emotional, how you handle your feelings, like what people might not see, but you know. And so to me, sometimes I think your moon is kind of like your truth, who you really are, because it's kind of who you are when you're like by yourself, or how you process your emotions and how you process your feelings. And because you have double Virgo, you're very like intellectual and logical. So sometimes people can come across as you being cold because it's not necessarily an emotional thing. It's more like, well, a lot like intellectually you rationalize things, like whether it's a fight, whether it's an argument, whether it's your romantic feelings for somebody, it's like a logical thing. You know what I'm saying? So people can be like, you're cold and detached, but really you just want to be practical and create a solution for people because you want to be of use. So you're more like, let's get to the point so I can figure out a solution, because that's how I show you I love you. Whereas people who want to kind of be sappy and a little bit like head ass might find that kind of rude, or that you don't care, or blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. Damn. Damn, that shit is crazy. So I'm really a Virgo through and through.
Through and through. So another thing about Virgos too is that Virgos are an earth sign. So when you think of earth, you think of grounding. So you're very just like stable, practical. You need planning. Money and stability is very important to your happiness, like materialistic things, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just, we live in a world where, as much as people are like, don't be materialistic, you kind of have to be in a sense to survive out here, because you need a home, you need a crib, you need money to pay for your bills. So that's kind of how you're designed. And so another thing about Virgos too is that they're very, they have a strong attention to detail, which can be amazing, because when it comes down to editing, whether it's photos, books, whatever the fuck, like you're going to make sure it's the best. But at the same time, you can also be a perfectionist. And, it's really hard to be perfect. Really, it's almost impossible. So if you're striving for that, you could always be unhappy, unsatisfied, because you're striving for something that doesn't exist. So there's that shadow side of being a Virgo. You know what I mean? But like Virgos, for example, when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to photography, like I have a friend named Wendy, and she does some of my shoots, and she's so good. And we were talking and laughing. She goes, she's such a good editor because she is a perfectionist. You know what I mean? Another thing about Virgos too is also being a hypochondriac, because you rule the digestive system, or Virgo rules the digestive system, you kind of have like, you're very in tune with like your gut feeling. And so you kind of can pick up when something's not right in your body. You know what I mean? So you're very health conscious, but if you take it to the extreme, you can be a hypochondriac. So you got to be careful with that. So the
Damn, that's
best,
cool though. Cause I really have had, I do when I start to really analyze and think in certain situations where it's pressure, my stomach do be going crazy. And at the same time, also a lot of times, like you said, going back to like my gut reaction, a lot of times I know my gut, it's like my gut is telling me one thing, and then I'm like,
no, you should always go
yeah,
with your gut because you're ruled by that. So your gut is always going to be on point. And if you notice the times where your stomach's all fucked up and hurting or not feeling right, it's usually probably times where you're worried, where you're stressed, or where you doubted yourself and you didn't listen to that like gut feeling. So one of the things you want to do for sure, because you're such a mental person, is meditating is so important because you want to get into your body to balance that out. So like, because you're so grounded, I would want to do or advise you to do meditation that kind of uplifts you more because you're grounded. Like in your rising sign is Capricorn. Capricorn's another herb. So your whole chart is earth. Like you're a grounded motherfucker. So what you actually need is kind of the opposite, which is more like air, which is like, for example, you could do that with having more Gemini friends, having more Aquarius friends, Libra friends. And sometimes like having the opposite of you can trigger you, but when you're triggered, it's an opportunity for growth. So essentially it will help you out. You know what I mean? So also like watching your diet, like everybody should watch their diet, but Virgos for sure, because you don't want spicy foods or foods with a lot of like fatty gravies and sauces or anything like that, because it will just fuck you up. So you want to have like the green leafy things and the fiber and the water and the ginger teas and the herbal teas. You want that more than like almost anybody else in the zodiac sign. You know what I mean?
so let me ask you, like, as far as like meditation goes,
Mm-hmm.
what can I do that will allow me to be consistent? Because for me, I'm always a million miles ahead. I'm always active, and that's not stimulating to me. So like, what can I do? What recommendations do you have?
So what I've been doing lately, and I've been doing it for a week, and it's completely crazy how much it helps me because it can almost make me feel high, like low key. So what I do is I work out, and after I work out, I can't necessarily meditate in silence. It doesn't really give me the same feel. So if you go on YouTube, you can literally go, like, for example, I was gonna say that like Mercury is ruled, they say Mercury rules the throat chakra. Your throat chakra is pretty much how you communicate, but it's also how you manifest and express yourself. So I would, for example, have you work on your throat chakra. So you can literally go on YouTube and put like throat chakra meditation. It's like these beats, it's like this music, like this kind of like whatever the hell. And I get my headphones because they're like surround sound type energy. And I'll literally like listen to my meditation music as I'm stretching. So you don't necessarily have to be like
Yeah.
you can, but you can do things. So I literally will listen to it for like 30 minutes and I'm stretching and then I'm breathing. And then at the end, I'll go into my little like poses and whatnot, but use music. You know what I'm saying? And you could be doing something.
Can you give examples of the type of breathing, or is it like
So
2 seconds in, 3 seconds out?
well, so okay, for sure, Google and research Kundalini yoga or follow YouTube things because I'm not like a pro at it. So I don't want to give you like exactly how to do it. But there's like this breath of fire thing where essentially like you kind of like as if you're panting, you know how a dog like pants, but you like breathe out of your nose and you're kind of like as you're like breathing, you're like but like as you're like breathing out of your nose, your stomach's going in and you're like snapping your stomach in, so it's like dancing. It's super weird, but I'm telling you, it's helped me so much because I smoke a lot, you know, so my lungs, okay, but also with singing and working out and everything like that. But also too, when I'm working out, like even, you know, you lift and stuff. Even like, for example, if you were to go down in a squat and as you were going down, you're breathing in through your nose, like you're breathing in as you go down. And as you like push up through your like heels or you squeeze your ass to like come up on the squat, breathe out. So like even like consciously breathing through that, which is also going to help your digestive system. Because a lot of times your digestive system's fucked up because you're not breathing properly either. Breathing like out of your chest, you're not getting that like deep, like because essentially if you're breathing correctly, you're kind of like massaging your shit and making everything move around and with Virgos and stuff, like if you're not doing what you need to do, you might get backed up where you're not getting any movement there, period. You know what I mean? So like proper breathing and all of that stuff is like literally critical to making sure that you just feel okay and content, because your mind is going to get the best of you if you don't like consciously focus on how to kind of like bring it together and like, you know what I mean, tone it down, because it's very analytical, you know, like very like what next, pros and cons, like that's just exhausting. It's just an exhausting way to live.
Oh my
So in
gosh.
order for you to
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
you know what I'm saying, like you
And
just
that's why
have to do
and
things.
that's why I think I short circuit so much and just make irrational decisions sometimes. Because like you said, I didn't really understand and realize this is who I am. Like, and I'm always thinking what you're saying. I'm just like, damn, you're right. I do come off certain ways, and I can just say some real stuff that, like you said, to me, it's like, I guess that's why. I guess it was also good that I was born in, in the 90s and 2000s. I was able to handle that because that was the reverse psychology and, talk shit about you to motivate you. And that's how we grew up. And then I'm realizing the new generation is like, nah, it's not gonna fly. My analytical brain can realize that, but like most people can't, like, so that's funny. So besides my stomach issues, what else do I have to worry about with my sun and moon being Virgo?
Really, it's just like with anything, too much of anything is just gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? So like too much planning may make you not take any action, period. You know what I mean? Like too much analyzing might make you talk yourself out of like a good opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's just like one of those things that it's just like learning like that fine line between like, okay, like I'm doing what I need to do, I'm preparing myself, versus like extreme perfectionism and like trying to chase something that you can't even achieve. So for real, it's like balancing the mind, like literally balancing the mind, because your stomach is your second brain. And so it's like, if this is okay, literally, I've had digestive systems my whole life because as a Gemini, I had the same kind of like situation. And when I started getting my mind right, my stomach has felt so much better. And it's crazy how a lot of times it's not even the foods you eat. Like I'm eating foods that I used to have problems with. And now I'm able to process them because my mind's right, but it's through meditation, like serious meditation. And if you already work out, like low key working out is kind of a form of meditation. Like just
Oh,
be more conscious when you're doing it. Like think more, like listen to yourself breathe. You know, instead of like always wearing like listening to music when you're working out, if you don't, like sometimes I'll just put my headphones on, but I won't have music because I can hear myself breathe. It's like louder or something. I don't even know. But like sometimes hearing yourself breathe, and sometimes if you're like out of breath and you're not even doing shit, you're like, damn, like I need to get my shit together. Like I need to do this, I need to do that. And so sometimes just working out with no music is a meditation.
before my hip surgery, I used to go running and I used to always ran with no music because, like you said, that was like my euphoria. Honestly, it felt amazing just running and, you
I
know,
wish I was like that. Like running, I will never, like, I can't wait till I'm like, ooh, let me go meditate and run. Like,
yeah.
hell no, I'm not there yet.
That and
But
swimming, even swimming, like now I try to do like 20-30 laps. And then I mean you can't have headphones in the pool. So that's another way of like, breathing and cardio. And I also realized, I think through a book or a podcast, that breathing in and out, exhaling, it allows your frontal lobe of your brain to receive oxygen, which stimulates creativity and thought and all that stuff.
yes,
So it's crazy how you're saying, breathing is so essential, especially for my sign, especially because I'm thinking a little extra harder than most.
have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Breathing is everything.
So the last one you said is Capricorn. What is that again? The sun, moon.
Okay. So rising, so rising or ascendant is pretty much what sign was on the eastern horizon when you were born. So this is why you need your birth time, because when it comes to sun signs, for example, there's a whole season for Virgos. The moon will stay in a sign for 3 days. So that is where you don't necessarily need your birth time, but your birth time is like an exact time of like what constellation, really, because when they say sign, it's like there's constellations in the sky. So it's like what constellation was coming up at the eastern horizon. Exactly. So yours is Capricorn. So Capricorn, it's funny because that's another like grounded, like earth sign. Capricorns are one of my favorite. I really resonate heavy with Capricorns because Capricorns are about their money. They're about their business. They're about making things happen. And it's interesting because a lot of times like Capricorns actually succeed better by like doing shit just themselves, like not relying on the influence of other people. Like that's almost takes time. Like they're like the leaders, kind of like the goats. Like they're literally, their sign is the goat. You know what I'm saying? Like they hold it down for you. You get what I'm saying? Like they know how to make money. They know how to direct. They know how to get things popping. But the thing about it is the shadow side of that is like being very pessimistic, being very stubborn, being very resentful. You know, if somebody does you wrong, like you forever are like, you did me wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, like it's a thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, yo, what you're saying is hilarious.
It just really is what it is. And your rising sign / ascendant is also kind of like what your goals are in this life, like what your objectives are. So with Capricorn, like I said, it's going to be all about creating a foundation, creating materialistic things, money, also status, like your status, your role in the community. Like you kind of want to be respected. In fact, that's critical to your happiness, is like being in a position where you're like a leader or a visionary, and you also have that status and you also have that respect. And like, so you're not going to be one person that's like a small fish in a big pond. Like, no, what is it? A big fish in a small pond? Like, not like you want to be like a big fish in a big pond. Like, you know, not that like humble, like, no, you know what I'm saying? You want that status, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I love that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, that's fire as hell. So Capricorn, where Virgo is ruled by Mercury, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of like discipline. It's the planet of ambition, but it's also the planet of like being stubborn and being selfish, because there's always a shadow side to everything. So with that selfishness, it's like, yeah, you're like you have a drive that's unstoppable. You want to make it to the top, this, that, or the other, but you can also get hella selfish with it. And you know what I'm saying? So you kind of still want to open your ears up a little bit to advice from others, but like not if you know it's gonna not help you. You know what I'm saying? So there's just always that shadow side to everything. But like I said, Capricorns, when I saw your rising was in Capricorn, I was like, that makes so much sense to me, because you're always like, if we're ever talking about something, you're always like, okay, you can capitalize off of that. Okay, that's a money move. Okay, how do you scale this, that, or the other? Like that's straight up Capricorn. And with you having the Virgo, it's perfect, because with the careful like planning and being analytical and being intelligent matched with your drive, like you're just going to be successful, like straight up. If you balance everything, it's just like you're going to make money, you're going to be like stable, you're going to have that kind of foundation in your life. You get what I'm saying?
I didn't pay you to say this, right?
Huh? No, I'm dead ass. That's what I'm saying. I had so much fun doing this, because I was just like, damn, like he really is the GOAT. It's super dope. And it's crazy because one other, like, I know I said I was going to do 3, but I'm going to do another one, which is what your Mercury's in. So there's actually like your Mercury's in Libra, and Libra is an air sign, and Libra is what makes you a little more social, because the thing is, most of the times, like with your chart, if you look at all the Virgos and the Capricorns, they're not really, they're kind of shy people, meaning that they don't necessarily socialize with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like to themselves. Kind of have to wait to be welcomed in. And Virgos are also very private. Like that's a big thing. So for example, like if you're trying to like, you know, win over the heart of someone that's a Virgo, like you're not going to be like overly like PDA, like overly out loud and proud. you know,
Yeah.
there's just things that you want private, you know, there's kind of like another important thing is you're going to want somebody that's like smart and intelligent and stimulates you in the mind. Like that's a thing if somebody's not doing that for you know what I'm saying? But with your Mercury being in Libra, that's what makes you a little more social and have that ability to talk to multiple different people. And you will find success in partnerships if you're able to tap into like all of your stuff, because Libra is all about balance. And so pros and cons, and you want to make the perfect decision and this, that, or the other. So like pretty much like all your planets and your stars and everything, it makes sense. Like if you really balance everything and tap in, like you really could just go straight to the top.
Yeah. So, and then describe like what's Mercury's like significance? Because you said the sun is who everyone thinks you are. The moon is like,
Oh, okay. So okay. So your sun is just like your role that like you're playing at this, like in this drama of life. That's what your role is. Your moon is your emotional feelings, kind of like who you are by yourself, like how you see yourself. Your rising to me is like your aura. Like a lot of times your rising is what people think you are, just because it's kind of the energy that you give off. And then once they meet you, it's more like, oh, you're actually a Virgo. Da, 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 da. So for example, it's kind of just like your energy, your aura, like your vibe, like
okay.
what kind
And,
of
and then
energy.
and then your Mercury is what?
So your Mercury is going to be, Mercury rules like communication, travel. So to me, it's how you communicate. If I were to sum it up, it's how you communicate. Because your Mercury's in Libra, Libra's kind of known as like the balancing, like it's kind of like the balance. Like I also can look at it as like duality a little bit, because like in order to find balance, sometimes you have to be on the extremes of both sides. So with that, a lot of people see Libras as wanting to be fair too, you know, wanting to kind of like create that peace, like being a mediator, being like the kind of like in between person, which is crazy because it can irritate people too, because it's like, damn, stand for something. But you can literally see like both sides to everything. So it's kind of an aggravating type thing, but it's also like a very beneficial, like at the end of the day, people know that if they come to you to talk to, you're going to give them an actual fair response. It's not some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you're going to think things through and give them like what you truly believe is a balanced answer. So yeah.
Wow, this was so enlightening, and this was
How'd I do? This is like my first like official like
yeah. Damn. So like, and then um what, as far as, since my communication would be Libra, what are some things I should be aware of that could like I can improve on, or be mindful of to avoid?
so because Mercury in Libra is about balance, a lot of times your mind can trick you into what balance is, right? So sometimes it could be like in a certain situation, you might be like, this is a weird vibe. Let me balance this out by trying to create or say something that will work. But sometimes is not what you truly feel, and you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself. You know what I mean? Like you might want to balance the energy of the room by saying things or kind of overcompensating or whatever, but it's not your truth. And so sometimes you can be a people pleaser. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can end up kind of like throwing yourself under the bus just to make the situation better because it's awkward, you know? So sometimes it can kind of be in, but for me, it's more of a personal thing that happens when you're like that. It's not necessarily like you make everybody happy. So everybody's having a good time, but like who you are and what it's doing to you and kind of the burden it can bring on you is what can fuck it up. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why it's very hard to kind of have that placement, especially in the communication, especially because you're ruled by Virgo, but because you're very intelligent and logical, I feel like you are able to balance that out. So that's not something that happens all the time, but like at your shadow side or your like darkest moments or your saddest moments, like there are probably times where you're like, damn, like you could probably relate to being kind of like a doormat or a people pleaser sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, so with that, it's kind of just making sure that you're standing in your truth and that you create healthy boundaries. And a lot of times you have to make sure that you're communicating with people who are wanting to receive what you're saying, so you're not wasting your time. So as long as you're kind of like talking to people that you know are like wanting to understand you and wanting to actually effectively communicate, then you'll be fine. But like if you know that people are already shut off, don't give a fuck, then it's kind of just knowing when to share and when to not, because you have a lot of information to share, you have a lot of intelligence to give to the world. You just got to be very careful with trying not to kind of push that on people, even though you know it's the right thing to do, you know it will help them, you know it will change their lives, you know you have the key to success. You can only give it to people who want it, or it will make you resentful. And that's what the whole ascendant and the Capricorn thing, that's where that comes in, because with that, resentment is a huge shadow side. So it's like you want to cater to the world, you want to make the world a better place, you have this knowledge, you have this, but people aren't trying to get the tools. And so it could be like, what the fuck, like I'm giving you the tools, you're constantly complaining about how your life sucks, I'm telling you how to fix it, and you don't want to listen to me, and then you get mad and you're like, fuck this shit, that. You get what I'm saying? It's a whole thing.
Okay, so I think over after this, I think I might be convinced that your birth chart is is what a person is, because
Literally.
because honestly, to the reason why I say that is because not even for the good stuff, it's for the bad stuff. And when you said that, you know, the shadow side of my traits are being one track minded, doing everything by yourself, not sharing your goals, that's literally all me. And there's a lot, and I, like you said, it was like I'm in like, damn, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But since I'm not sharing it or telling nobody, I'm just focused on me. It's and then I was tight, like, damn, nobody knows. And like nobody's really, you know, and I was like, damn, when you said that, I was like, whoa, that really, and I mean, that's why I'm like on Instagram live right now. That's why I'm trying to become more vocal. Cause like you said, it's like, damn, I really do have something to say. And I've always had something to say, but it's the timing and then the worrying and the da da blah blah, or the not knowing and, you know, no guidance. So I'm doing it on my own. I'm figuring out myself. So it's a lot of trial and error. You know, I'm learning through experience, not wisdom. And then now it's like, now I'm reflecting, I'm hearing you. I'm like, damn, what you saying is fucking crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. So what is yours?
So my sun sign is Gemini, my moon's in Libra, and then my rising is Leo.
Your moon is in
Libra.
Libra.
So when I was preaching to you about all the Libra and the people pleasing and the trying to like make the energy balance so you'll sacrifice your own, like that, I was speaking from the heart, because that's literally how I am a lot of the times. Like one of my biggest things I've had to learn is how to create boundaries and not feel guilty about them, not feeling guilty like when people press them and you're like you know, and not feeling guilty for being like, nah, like stop. Because with that Libra, you want everybody to just feel okay. You want everybody to feel okay, which is funny because you want everyone to feel okay but yourself. So then you're not really bringing balance. You know what I'm saying? It's like a fake balance, because it's like if you want balance, everyone needs to be balanced. Not everyone but yourself. You know what I mean? And with my Leo rising, so that's to me why I think I want to be an entertainer so bad, because like Leo is you know, the bad side of Leo, you know, they think everything's about them, this, that, or the other. But the good side of Leo was actually being creative and being an entertainer and being all about like animals and family, and kind of like a lion's the king of the jungle, right? So like they lead the group, but they also make sure that the whole pack is okay, the whole jungle is cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of Lion King. I don't even know if that's like how it really gets down in like animal life, but I'm thinking
I'm
like
pretty sure
Lion King.
lions, male
They,
lions are running shit. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
like I'm not quite sure if they actually have like monkeys or being like holding like baby cubs up. I'm not sure that's
That's
like
not
real
going
life.
down. That's not going down. That's more like monkeys are like lunch. That's on the menu. But male lions for sure. They run the city. And what's funny you say that, I think of my boy Ricky. He's a Leo. And yeah,
I
he's on
love
that same
Leos.
he's on the same type of vibe. And I remember he was one of my podcast guests for the show. And he was talking about, he's like, yo, like once I would always think like I want to create something. Like I want to create a skit. I want to create a do stand up. I'm always thinking about creating. And then what you're saying is like, damn, yeah, that really
An
is.
entertainer. Yeah, it's hella creative, hella like entertainer, like performer, you know, want to be seen. Like one thing I had to learn is that I have to be okay with wanting to be seen. Like, you know, sometimes you can feel kind of corny and lame because like everybody wants to be famous now. Everybody wants to be seen. So for you to be like, I'm trying to be seen, I'm trying to be famous, you feel lame. But like the truth is like that's a huge part of my life. Like I had to accept, like, no matter how corny you think this is, Rudi, you, in order for me to be happy, like I have to be on stage. And I need that like low-key fame. Like I hate to say it, I try to act like I want that like subliminal, like low-key, like fame. But like if I were to be completely honest with myself, I'm like, I want to be a fucking star. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to Rudi Fate and lights everywhere. And I had to accept that and not feel lame for that or corny for that, because that's what was fucking me up. Because if you're like trying to stop that from happening, then the universe is going to throw shit at you to give you exactly what you're saying. Like if you're going to act all small and meek, like the world's going to look at you like that. But as soon as I started stepping into my power and just accepting the fact that like, why are you trying to act like you just want to be some low-key indie artist? Like I don't really. I'm not saying I want to be mainstream, but I want that mainstream money and that mainstream fame. You know, I don't want to be just, I would just be lying to myself if I was just like, yeah, I just want to do music and have like 3 people there, you know, work for tips. No, like I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So I had to just accept that like that's just what I want and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, like just step in that power.
Yeah, it's crazy. People, like someone said from somewhere, I was listening or whatever, that you know most people, everyone's is scared to really embrace their true power from within. Like we're scared of our potential. Like that's a real deal. Like, and we've, like you said, it's almost like trauma. It's like this, it's like the same thing. When that's super bad, but it's like your gifts and your God-given abilities, and that's really good. And we're scared of that because it's like we don't. I think it's like you said, going back to when we sat down. It's knowing we're not educated on the energies and or just energy and this whole realm and conversation. And like you said, I'm pretty sure like you have my mind blown like a magician. You know, where it's like you're saying
You know,
things that resonate.
it's crazy though, because you know, people, I try to talk astrology with people and some people shut their minds off and completely, like I was trying to talk to a friend about it. He was literally like, I don't believe in that because I'm Christian. And I was like, I'm not telling you anything that's like, it's not
This isn't even
necessarily
religion.
I know. And it's like, but people hear astrology and think sinful. This is the devil work. This is that. I'm like, honestly, all I'm trying to do is just give you the tools, because all this is giving you the why so you can get the how, because you're really big on hows. You know what I'm saying? If you know why, you can figure out the how. And that's all astrology is. It's like a tool. It's just like, let me know why I'm like this so I don't feel crazy. And once you're like, oh, this is why I'm like this, you're like, okay, how can I create a process or a system that's going to work for me? That's all that it is. You know what I'm saying? But people get really tripped out about astrology. And I'm just like, nah, honestly, it's like creating a user manual. You take notes, you figure out why you're like this. You can really figure out like down to what foods you should eat. Like it really can help you like live a more happy life, like a life full of joy, and that just makes sense for you. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if this was like made just as important as like exercising and diet, like can you imagine? But it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, but this is just as important. Like throw this in here and you really could have the whole thing. That's why I want to school so bad, because I would love to teach this as you were growing up. Like imagine like when you're in kindergarten or middle school or high school and you knew some of these things. So like you're growing up like in school learning how to be the best version of yourself. So for example, I would have cooking classes for each type of person. So it's like these are the foods that work for you. So you're taking home ec and cooking classes, but you're learning how to cook foods that work for your body. There's so many people with food allergies and Crohn's disease and this and this. And I guarantee, like, if we were to break their charts down, we could be like, oh, actually, this and this and this. But it's like, no, go to the doctors, get this medication, get this surgery, get body parts removed. Like, that isn't crazy. But reading a book about astrology is the devil's work. And I will never understand. I'm like, you're like removing body parts and like drugging people with medicine, but that's how it should be, you know. That's, and I don't, but I'm just like, I get it. I was once ignorant. I get it, you know. And that's one thing that I'm trying to learn is, you know, when you're on the other side of things, sometimes not to judge, because I once was there. But just because I once was there, I wish somebody would slap me in the fucking face and says that's wrong. I'm not one of those people that are like, because I did it, it's okay. No, I shouldn't have been like that anyway. So I'm not gonna sit here and like applaud this behavior. Like,
It sucked. Who
it
wants to be that
sucks.
way? It
Sucks.
sucked. I was like an unconscious zombie. Trust me. Like you saying, I wish I would have heard this chart shit at 17, at 16. I'd have been like, oh my God. Like now, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I always talk about, you know, lack of guidance and mentorship, but books and knowledge can, that those are your mentors. Like a lot of people, I was podcast books. I was watching another guy, he's my age, 26, but he was tapped in at 17. You know, instead of, he had no one, like, you know, no father figure, no nothing. And at 17, 18, you know, he was investing in courses, investing in books, investing in audio content. And now at 26, he's running a 7-figure, 8-figure business. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. And like you said, I get resentful, like, damn, like getting mad at myself. But it's like, I can't even get mad at myself because you don't know what you don't know.
You
And
don't
no
know.
one's,
Yeah.
no one's teaching you, you know what I'm saying? Like how, you know, I can't be that mad, you know? And at the
And
same time,
sometimes you
today.
don't know you need this information. Like sometimes you don't even have like the words to create the question to even go down this rabbit hole. Like that's the thing. Like it's like if you don't know that there's another way, then I just was a type of person that have always kind of been more of a dark soul and have always wanted to know why and have always felt like there has to be more to life because this can't be it. And so because of that natural curiosity, which is the Gemini in me, which is the Mercury in me, that is what got me into figuring out why. But like if you don't have heavy Mercury in your chart, like you're not doing that necessarily. You get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to create a way where you take this information and translate it to different kinds of people in different languages, because I believe that there's this universal language that everybody can tap into. I really believe in that. Like I know down to animals and shit. Like, you know, I can't speak dog, but there's things that I can just feel Juice, my dog, and just know what he's feeling and thinking. And when I look at those experiences, I'm like, you know, he's a whole other like species, but yeah, we could communicate. So there has to be some sort of universal language here. And my goal is to somehow figure out what it is, learn it so I can speak it, because I really believe that there's a little light in all of us. I know some of us are fucked up, but I do believe there's this light in all of us that like, if you can just go in and turn that shit up on people, it could really make a difference. And I think for me, I've learned that when you give people tools and you help them understand why they are the way they are, and you make them feel less crazy, you know, and you kind of like, I kind of sacrifice my own like stories and my own like fuck ups, and I kind of like overly share my shit so people know that look, a bitch is wild and crazy. I've done some shit. So I'm giving you the space to be like, oh, you're not alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times we will beat ourselves up in our minds because we think we're alone in something, when like low key, like our neighbor may feel the same way, our mom, our dad, our dog, whatever the fuck, we all feel these same feels and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you have enlightened me today. I,
yay.
I
I'm so hyped.
I think this is so real. Like you're making me I'm computing. I've been computing. I've been computing. And you're making me like really think like, you know, genetics and characteristics. Like now I'm more leaning towards like mannerisms. We definitely that trades on, but personality traits and characteristics, I think that birth chart is the real deal. I think
It is, and we haven't
I
even
really
got to the
believe that's the
nitty
real deal.
gritty. This isn't even the nitty gritty. This is just like the most like lesson one. Like
Wow. So
I
like
know.
just tell me, like you don't have to you don't have to go in depth, but like what's the next level after you're like you examine someone's birth chart?
So there's just other things in a birth chart. Like there's a south node and there's a north node, and your south node is kind of like overdeveloped characteristics that you just have, like whether if you believe in past lives, it could be kind of things that you've learned in your past lives and what you've come into this world with. And then your north node is kind of like what you're meant to. Oh, can you still see me?
Nah, I can see you.
Okay, I got a phone call. I was like, damn. Okay, so your north node is kind of like what you're supposed to do during this lifetime. So think of it like your north star, like, you know, follow the star or whatever. So your north node is in Scorpio, for example, right? So Scorpios are known as like rebirth, transformation, death, but also possession, control, money, investment. So like if you were to look at like what you're destined to do in this life, and it's a Scorpio in your north node, which really resonates with you too, they're kind of known for investing and kind of putting people on, like Drake, Scorpio. Future, Scorpio. Like if you kind of look at their characteristics, you can kind of see how like they're kind of like they're about their money, you know, like they make money and they're really good at kind of investing, but the shadow side of that too is possessiveness, is control, is jealousy. And so that's what you also have to balance. But for example, a Scorpio could be you could be a good detective, a good healer, and a good investor in stocks. So like, I don't know if you do stocks, but that's something I would recommend for you because your north node is in Scorpio, which is all about that. Plus with your Virgo stuff and your Capricorn, like you pretty much should do stocks. Like if there's something that literally, like if you want to like, and you listen to podcasts and shit. So like if you were to just throw on some stock podcasts for a couple, whatever the fuck, you would be very successful in that. So with your birth chart, you could also kind of truly be like, this is what I would be good at. Like this is, you know, it's kind of a guide, it's guidance. Like
real talk. Because a lot of times, like I said, you know, the credentials was made out of just helping people realize you can help yourself. And these are things you can do to help yourself figure out what you need to figure out. And this is like super dope because now it's like you understand your characteristics and generalities of what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Now, instead of 1 out of 1,000 careers, what do I pick? Now it could be like 1 out of 10 careers because one of these 10 is, if I try all 10 of them, 1 out of 10 is gonna have something that I resonate with and I like, and that can be my passion and go from there.
Exactly. Like because I'm a Gemini and I'm ruled by Mercury, intellect, technology, all of that stuff is like my thing. So for example, me doing this research and going and finding all this and then translating it to you is literally perfect for me. Like this doesn't feel like a job for me. That's why I'm like, I need to make money off this because I can do this all day. Researching things, learning things, and then communicating it to people is like so.
That's my love language too.
That's literally my love language. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like being a teacher or being a mentor, being something like that is perfect for what I'm trying to do. And even as much as I want to, I equally want to be like a star just as much as I want that platform for me to be able to have these conversations on a grand scale. So like I can have this imagine if I had 1 million followers.
That's why we're starting now, because we had to start.
Exactly.
And then start. It has to start with 0 lives on my lives, 1 to 2 people following. You know what I'm saying? It has to start like that for some people, you know, and it can grow. Some people don't have to start like this. Some people start with 50,000, 100,000, yada, yada. But most people start like us, you know, 1-on-1 and looking in front of 0, looking in front of 5, looking in front of 10. And then as long as we embrace our purpose and realize it's for us, all we gotta do is wait on time.
Exactly.
All we gotta do is wait on time.
Agreed.
Damn, this was crazy. Thank you so much for enlightening me. You give me so much encouragement. Honestly, you really have. This is great because, like I said, it's not the good things are cool, right? But it's more like I said, my process in my brain is like I'm always trying to cut the fat.
Get better.
Yes.
That's another Virgo thing. Self-improvement and service is like the biggest thing for Virgos. So like, of course, like you want to know what's wrong or what's not wrong, but the shadow side of things so you can fix it. So you self-improve, because if you're at your best, you're going to be of service to people and you're going to fulfill your destiny. Like, it's a thing. It's all connected. Like, it's crazy how everything is so connected.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they say. Like, we think we're so much in control, but it's like, all
That's
right.
what's ironic. That's, it's so funny because through astrology, I've understood like what fate means, because like fate is kind of like predestined, right? And so I've looked at astrology as like the fate of it all is that like there's just, when you're born, there's just certain energies and planets that have an effect on you. You can't change that, but you use your free will to decide what you're going to do with that predestined energies that you have. And that's, to me, so that's why I think it's ironic that my last name's Fate too, because I'm like, so interesting, like that kind of correlation. So you're born with certain factors, like certain energies, just certain things. Like, it's just as important as your DNA and your genetics. It's just as important. And so it's just kind of up to you to be like, okay, this is the energy that's given to me. What am I going to do with this? Like, how am I going to work it? Like, how am I going to apply pressure? Like, how am I going to not apply pressure? Like, bam, bam, bam.
So my helpful recommendations would be, there's this website called Maestro.
Okay.
Miestro. And
M-I-E, what is it? M-I-E.
Miestro.
Okay.
And they create online ebooks and courses. So they're like, it's like it's one for the culture, you know what I'm saying? A dude that, you know, really took time to learn the craft, and he made it to where his courses are like, there's embedded programming to allow not live interaction but interaction, to like, and reminders, so the person can be engaged with the content. So I would check that out, because I think that's one of those things that you could play with and get it to where your course, it works for you, instead of you having to work on it, and really, you can better scale it.
I
uh,
feel you. See, look at you.
yeah, yeah. And then the second suggestion would be also too, like, why don't you go to middle school? I would say middle school and up, and I honestly high school and up,
Yeah.
and teach teach this for a semester. You know
Do
what
you
I'm
think
saying?
they would? I'm curious
Yeah,
to
you
whether
have a
people
degree.
would let me.
You
I
have a
wonder if they
degree.
would let me, or they would have like, like parents like, oh, there's a
You have
witch.
Yeah, you have a degree though, but you know what I'm saying? You have a degree, and it's like, you get what you negotiate. Or you know what? Go to a junior college. Even better. I think that, because it's like, what junior college female wouldn't take astrology as like a freshman?
Oh, that's real.
You know what I mean?
That's
Let's
so
be real
real.
about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's,
saying? And then it has to start with, who's gonna rock with you, and then branch out from there. But I think junior college actually would be the move.
I
You know,
like that.
start with a junior college teacher for a semester, even if it's 10 people, 20 people. You know what I'm saying? Track the
Oh, that would
progress.
be so fun. I would have so much
Yeah,
fun.
and you get paid for it. And it's super part-time. You know what I'm saying? Your teacher, you probably teach what, once or twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Or if you taught 4 times a week, it'd be like, but it's only a 2-day commitment. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And then it could go viral or whatever. It can, because
I
that's
like how you think. I
what
like how you. I said I like how you think.
yeah,
See, Virgo.
yeah. I'm trying to give you value. you just rock my world. But also, this is just me naturally, right? I'm always
No, that's, you're in
applying.
your purpose, you're in your alignment, like you're aligned. Because it's so funny, because everything I've said, like you're now just demonstrating everything I said. So it's just perfect. I'm just
Yeah,
like, yes.
yeah. That's super crazy, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this, because, like I said, for me, this was like very. I always say this: it's confirmation, not coincidence.
I
That's why I
love
guess
that.
that line probably even resonates even more to me now. Like, it's like, damn, all this to get to this point, to make me realize, right before the world opens back up right before everything starts, that confirmation, not coincidence, that everything has happened to this point so I can get to this point. So then now I can elevate to the next points.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, thank you so much. Have
Thank
an
you.
amazing band practice.
Yay.
Have an amazing performance. Is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow. And I might live it from my phone.
You
But
should.
regardless, in a couple of weeks it will have the content. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like a mix between like color show, like MTV Unplugged, plus like Tiny Desk. It's gonna be cool.
Definitely live
Like,
stream that. You should definitely live stream that. Like,
yeah, I
no,
will.
you have to. Honestly, now we're grown-ups. Like we're not kids no more. Like, you know,
You have,
and the
yeah.
things that we're trying to do, we're really trying to make an impact. We're really trying to shift things. Like, look, I got nobody watching my live, but it doesn't matter. It's just the practice of it. It just gets you comfortable with it. I had a couple people join in though. You know, if I would engage,
I feel you.
you know, but it's like when something's for you, like you said, it's like it don't even matter. Fuck it, fuck it. So what? I know, I know my shit is on point. I know whenever someone listens to our conversation, our podcast, our episodes, our shows, whatever, they're gonna actually gain something from it. It's like you said, like I'm thinking in my head, like I got, like, come on, who does your first podcast with your professor? You know what I'm saying? It just tells you the type of time I'm on. What you know, and I know like whenever someone tops on it, I'm that strong and that confident that you're gonna gain something from it. Even though it's geared towards high schoolers and college people and youth that like, yo, open your eyes, and take advantage of your head start. That's what it's really. But even my mom is gaining stuff from this. My aunts, strangers, other adults, everyone can gain stuff because what I say is universal. I just aim it at little kids too to also take the pressure off the old people, not make them because like you said, self-awareness is a bitch and it
Yeah.
hurts a lot of people. So that's why I also gear, hey, it's for the kids. It's not for the kids, it's really for the grown folks. But you say it to the kids lens, so then they check on it and they get it through that. It's I forgot, someone said it's like putting the vegetables in the applesauce or something like that. But this was awesome. Like I really appreciate you. Like I said, really, I mean, my mom wants to be your client and for sure. And mad people like once one
I
I'm
would love
I'm gonna
that.
give you the content for this because you should definitely put this on like your Instagram, whatever, your websites and all that. But once people hear this, whatever, like it's gonna start resonating. And like you said, since you love it and you're good communicator, you got that Mercury in you. It's like do it. You should do it, And like I think that you can grow. You could be your destiny might be to be a freaking celebrity astrologer.
Astrology. It's like
Real talk. And going back to our first episode, there was like there's this dude on Netflix, it's like Spanish dude, and he was like world famous astrologer, and he actually lost millions of dollars because he gave up his name, image, and likeness to a company, and now he's like kind of broke and all that, but tens of millions of people would watch him and listen. You gotta watch it. I'm gonna get the name. When I get the name, I'm gonna text it to you, but it's on Netflix. You gotta watch it. But he was the same way. It was just like, but he was more like gimmicky with it, like it wasn't even as real deal because he was what an audience. So it's like you got to give broad generalizations. Like the sun, he would give you the sun version of what astrology is, and he was a worldwide phenomenon. Like if you gave the whole meal of astrology, it's not gonna be overnight because
but yeah.
because we're secretive, private, and in our own thoughts, and so like we haven't built it up. That's really why this is not crazy because I'm so to myself. It's like everyone who knows me in person is like, oh, but social media don't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't build myself. I don't do it like that.
But
But
you're doing so good now. Like you're in your bag.
I'm
You're in
trying.
your bag. No,
I'm
you're in
trying.
it.
I'm
You're not
trying.
trying to be.
I'm trying. So, like I said, I'm gonna text you that guy, but thank you so
Okay.
much. This was
Thank you.
this was
Thank you.
awesome, and get to it. Like, check out
I
that
want.
maestro website, Real Talk, and create a course because it's real. Like what you're saying is not my little cousin. My son just commented. No, but I mean it's real deal. And like what you're saying is I really want everyone in my family to do this chart
Put
because
them through. Put them
yeah,
through.
yeah. So get right, and this is the start. This is the start for
Thank
both of us. So
thank you for being my first client. You're my
yeah,
first.
I'm honored. I'm honestly honored. I'm honored, and yeah, we'll put this on the whole thing on YouTube, and in a couple of days I'll edit it, and
Okay.
yeah, this is awesome. Have an awesome band practice,
Thank
and
you.
I'll holler at you later.
All right. Bye.
Peace out. Oh, you're amazing. That's crazy.